Welcome back to Lazer Radio. I'm Brad Sohner. This episode is brought to you by the Lazer LifeBeam Helmet Integrated Heart Rate Monitor with a rechargeable 15-hour runtime, connection via ANT Plus or Bluetooth technology, and helmet-mounted optical sensor. The Lazer LifeBeam is more accurate than traditional heart rate sensors without the bother of an uncomfortable chest strap. Check out the Lazer LifeBeam system at your local Lazer dealer. We are being joined today by one of the nicest guys and one of the most well-respected riders in the American peloton, Mr. Brad Huff, our current Criterium National Champion. For about another 18 hours, we're recording here in Louisville, Kentucky, where Brad is going to be defending his Stars and Stripes jersey tomorrow evening in downtown Louisville. Brad, I want to start we'll start today and then sort of move backwards from there. A year in the Stars and Stripes jersey. I know that win was
actually I got a little extra time because
that's true.
The race was in April last year, so I got a couple extra months out of it.
Bonus months in the National Championship.
Yeah, I thought
jersey.
just because some people kind of like me at the top, and they like, let's throw Brad a couple months.
They move that for you. Yeah. That was a big win for you in Greenville. I mean, you're always the guy that's working for the team, and you sort of finally got that chance to go and race and be the guy. That must have been special. Talk about that feeling in Greenville when you finally realized,
even that day we were kind of a roll of the dice. If we have some cards to play with breakaway riders, Tom Soliday and Jesse Anthony were up the road until 2 laps ago, and then we also have Eric Young, who is one of the fastest, more powerful sprinters in the States. And so really it just kind of worked out to be kind of opportunistic there at the end. It's not so much that we were specifically working for me. Eric can win at any day. And so I just kind of got lucky. And I was really happy to be there and to be able to finish it off.
I always thought the Crit National Champion jersey is really special for American riders because Criterium racing is such a part of the fabric and DNA of American bike racing.
It's born on. It's like, kids playing pickup games and across courts and all across America. Well, cyclists, we raised doing little pickup criteriums all around. Wednesday night crits or Sunday crit, and that's what I started on, and that's what I still do today. And I'm thankful to win it, and it was just amazing. And actually, it was my second time winning, so there was a 10-year span from my first one to my second one, pro title.
Yeah.
And so it was just really special, and my brother was actually there, and I completely blanked that my brother was there until I was cooling down, and I hear this voice that I immediately recognized, and I said, oh my gosh, my brother's here, that's right. And I turned around and I gave him the biggest hug I've ever given him, and he's a big man.
Yeah.
And it was just so emotional to have my brother there, and it was great. I loved it.
Yeah, your family and friends don't get to see you race a whole lot as a pro bike racer. I mean, they can watch some of the streams and stuff, but it's not the same as being there in person, is it?
Yeah, my dad's got to see a handful of races across the states. My mom has only been to a few just due to work and life, and having my family there was amazing, and all my friends, so it was pretty cool.
Yeah. On the eve of your defense of the Stars and Stripes jersey, what are the feelings going through your head today? I mean, were you nervous? Is it sort of bittersweet?
It's never bittersweet. Definitely nervous, mainly because every person you talk to is like, oh, you're going to win again. Oh, you should win. Yeah,
no pressure.
Pressure. Win it again, Brad. Bring it home. I'm like, yep, that's just easy as that. I'll click in, put my hands in the air, and bring it home. Thank you. And yeah, I mean, definitely nervous, but our team's an amazing group. We have any rider could win from our team, and so I'm just going to go out there and keep being the team player that I am. And if it works out, maybe I'll win, or maybe Eric Young's going to win this year. You never know. Or Tom Soliday could be in the winning move at the end. That's very possible.
Talk about how you guys play that at Nationals, because it's really tough with a trade team. Obviously, everyone wants the Stars and Stripes jersey, but you gotta kind of put it aside. And I guess that's the mark of a true professional. I mean, that's part of what makes you guys pros and what gets you these contracts, being able to put your personal ambitions aside for the team.
Right. I mean, we will be professionals until the end. We will. Everyone will race their bike. Everyone will be competitive. We know the riders that are capable to do the breakaways or work on the front for certain riders, but at the end of the day, if Shane Klein's has the best legs of the day, we're going to work for Shane Klein.
Yeah, interesting. When does that decision get made? Is it on the road or is it before the race?
We'll kind of have a couple cards in our back pocket to be able to play, but then we'll definitely talk to each other on the road, and it might come down to the last 5 laps where we really have to make a split-second decision, and everyone's professional and everyone knows what they're doing out there, and so we'll be able to make that when need be.
I want to go back and talk about a race last year. We had kind of a scary crash. Hit your head a little bit.
A smidgen. I was down in Guadalupe. You know, I brought my board shorts, but I wasn't in my board shorts at the time. Yeah, I wish I was.
You weren't there for surfing.
No, I wasn't there for the surf. Definitely there for the sun.
Talk about the race, what you were doing, how it happened, and
Tour
the aftermath.
Tour Guadalupe. We had the prologue, and I actually won the prologue. I was in the Yellows jersey. We're about 7 kilometers from the finish, and we're flying down this descent, and then this motorcycle didn't carry enough speed through the corner. I was in a slight breakaway just off the front. One rider hits the motorcycle. He doesn't go down. And then I react because I was going to crash into him. I slide out, go into a guardrail, fly into the jungle, and I crash so fast that no one realized that I had crashed.
Oh,
I
good.
finally claw my way back up to the road, and the whole caravan's gone. The ambulance is gone. No one's there, and I see a lone media motorcycle ripping through the traffic trying to get back up to the race, and I flag them down. They stop. They're it's French area, and I don't speak French, and so I was saying I need a wheel, and then they said, oh yeah, someone's coming. Well, no one ever came, so I literally had to flag down this random car that had old bike stickers on it.
Yeah.
This guy gave me a 1992 Campy Chorus 9-speed, maybe 8-speed wheel that barely rolled. I gave him my head wheel that had a rolled tubular. We never saw that again.
Of course.
And I rode to the finish. Finished. Long story short, I went to the hospital, getting stitched up, 36 stitches in my back, and I was on the little operation table.
Pretty good hospitals down there.
Actually, the doctor was amazing. He really took great care of me. But I was on the table, and I look up, and I feel this weird water, and I'm like, "What's going on?" The ceiling was leaking on me, and I said, "Doc, hey, the ceiling's leaking on me. Can we move?" And he goes, "No, it's an old leak. It's not a new leak. They fixed the roof. It's fine. Don't worry about it." And I said, "Yeah, but I'm getting you're." And he's like, and I said, "Can we go to the other table?" And he goes, "No. This is where we do the stitches." And I said, "Okay, just stitch me up and get me out of here as fast as I can."
Yeah.
Got back to the hotel, looked at my helmet. My MIPS system in my Lazer helmet had actually shifted out of the helmet, and I realized I didn't have a concussion because the MIPS system most likely saved me from a traumatic brain injury, and I was so thankful. Even though I had 36 stitches in my back and I had a great story to go home with, I had my brain intact and I was able to articulate words again.
Yeah, you can always go in and heal a collarbone.
Totally.
Road rash heals, but concussions are one of those really scary
things. And I don't have many brain cells to work with, so I need all that I can keep. So.
Yeah, it's important for a pro cyclist. I mean, you guys go out there every day, and obviously, it's a big gamble doing what you do.
It's a big risk
with every part of your body. Mm-hmm. But those TBIs really seem to be one of the scariest parts of the sport as a pro.
we all worry about it, especially racing criteriums. I mean, it is an aggressive sport and high speeds and turning at angles that most people kind of gasp at, and being able to go into the race with that confidence in the system that's on my head that's going to hopefully save me. I feel really reassured.
Every time I go back and do highlights from these streams that we do whenever we live stream a race, there's always a Brad Huff highlight. Every time.
There's been some good ones this year. I don't know. I just being in the wrong place at the right time.
But somehow you come out of it, whether it's landing on your feet or doing a front flip.
And
some magical
Jedi
powers.
So, I work on it. I practice at home.
So growing up racing or getting into racing, obviously crit racing was a big part of it. Take us through sort of your entry into the sport. I mean, when did you get on a bike? When did you start racing?
I raced BMX when I was 9, 10, 11 at Spokes BMX track, and then I raced mountain bikes in high school. I remember telling my football coach on a Friday night after a football game, "Hey, coach, I'm going to race a mountain bike race." And he goes, "Great, Huff, just come back on Monday for practice." And that's what I did. In my last 2 years of high school, I was the 1996 beginner state champ. Nice. Still have the jersey. And then I got into road bikes when I was about 19, and my very first training crit I did, first corner, it turned left, and I went straight because I was going so fast. I don't even think my tires had a chance to turn. And I just took all the skin off my left side, and virtually from then on, I was hooked on criteriums, and I haven't looked back.
Of course, when you crash at 35 miles an hour,
I'm going to get back up and do this. This is great.
But it is. That's also what makes you guys bike racers. And your first thought is all right, I got to get back into the race. Yeah. Tour Guadalupe is a great example. I need a wheel, I need an ambulance.
And the funny thing about that one is I got up and rode to the finish, and they made me do an interview, and I was not very happy about doing an interview with my back lacerated.
Yeah.
But I did it, and just professional about it.
What was the racing scene like in Missouri growing up?
The racing scene was hot and heavy in the late 90s. I mean, there was races that don't exist anymore that were all over. And, I raced in Kansas City, Paducah, down in Fayetteville, and up in St. Louis and Tulsa. I mean, all over the Midwest, going up to Chicago, going to the Quad Cities, all these races that were born and bred on in the Midwest. And that really helped me to understand what it took to survive races. The caliber of athletes that were there were amazing. There was a rider that I was always raced against out of St. Louis. His name was Joe Hill, and he was phenomenal. He took the 7-Up team, an old name for people that remember. He took them on single-handedly, and it was amazing to be able to be there and see that. I wasn't up there doing it, and he was. And, I aspired to be competitive like those guys, and so I just kept chinning the pole, and one day it kind of worked out where I was decent at it.
Becoming a pro is a really tough journey and also a really uncomfortable journey.
Oh, yeah. There's a lot of uncertainty.
Yeah. Talk about that life. I mean, the life of being a pro bike racer where you only know if you have a job 2 or 3 years out at a time, sometimes 1 year.
Right. Mine's been year to year. I've always had a 1-year contract. Wow. And even in the very beginning, I was just in the right place at the right time. I won the right races. Yeah. And Jonathan Vaughters was going to start a team pursuit program. He wanted a couple riders that had the capability to do that, and I just happened to be one of those at the right year. Otherwise, I might have never made it to the pro ranks. And, it has been, a very tiring, difficult mental strain on myself to keep going year after year. But it's not so much that I'm doing it for the wins, or the medals or the trophies or whatever, the jerseys. It's more so the love of the sport and being able to go out there and do what I love and be able to give back at times to friends that I meet all across the United States and sometimes the world. And that's what keeps me going.
I've noted you've built a really strong following over your 10-plus year career as a pro. We see Brad Huff shirts at events. We see, you're one of those guys that has the pull. Where do you think that comes from? Because a lot of your fans are people that have probably never met you in person. They watch you race, they watch your interviews, and for some reason they love them some Brad Huff.
It's integrity. Yeah. You can't fake integrity, and I feel that I bring my Midwest moral values with me to every event that I go to, no matter where it's at, and I think people realize that, and the character that I keep and the individuals that I keep close to me, and that really reflects my opinion on the sport and just the way I live my life and so hopefully more people aspired for that. Yeah. So.
What do you do off the bike? Like,
rest a whole bunch, and then try to keep up with my very, very fast dream woman, Lauren Hall. She's a tough one to keep up with. So that's pretty much what I do off the bike is rest and try to keep up with her.
Talk about what it's been like having a relationship with another bike racer. I mean,
a bike racer that's, won bigger races than I've ever thought about winning. I mean, she won Ghent Wevelgem in 2013. She's been second at Road Nationals twice, maybe 3 times. I have twice. And, she's just a phenomenal athlete, and she was a D1 soccer player at Mississippi State, and I aspired to be a collegiate athlete, like a real NCAA athlete, but I wasn't big enough, I wasn't fast enough, I wasn't tall enough, I couldn't shoot well enough. Yeah. And it's the fact that I'm, dating my dream woman that did all of that is just, it's a dream come true. And, she's intelligent, she makes me a better man, and I feel very blessed to be with her.
We're talking about Lauren Hall, who this year is racing with the United Healthcare Pro Cycling Team. Do you guys get away from bike racing, or do you talk shop when you're home together?
We get away from it for sure. We hang out, we laugh, we watch sitcoms together. We've been binge watching on Grace and Frankie. It's a pretty good show if you haven't seen it. But we're just best friends, and we have a great time no matter what we're doing. We went and played bingo 2 nights in a row back in a couple months ago. First time we went, we won.
Good.
And really ticked off one of the old couple that's going to every single bingo game. And then the next week we showed up, and this guy, I waved to him, and he stood up and he goes, "Hey, don't expect that to happen every week, okay, kid?"
They got your number now.
They got our number. They didn't want us to win. And I'm serious. we won again, and he was beside himself because he didn't win 2 weeks in a row, and he was so pissed off. And I just stood up and I pointed at him. I said, "That's what you get." That was great. So yeah, we get away from cycling.
So maybe there is a little gloating of Brad Huff, but off the bike, only in the bingo hall.
Right, only the bingo hall.
Yeah. I want to talk about your team this year, the rally cycling team. Seems like you guys have a really good vibe going there. You talked about being able to sort of share a lot of your knowledge. Mm-hmm. There's definitely a good crop of young riders in those orange kits.
I mean, yeah, when you say we have a good crop of young riders, I mean, we have the junior world time trial champion. You know, we have Colin Joyce that just came off of the action development team, who's phenomenal. Wore the yellow jersey at Alberta last year. He just won the North Star Grand Prix. He got, second in the field sprint, which was fifth place at Nationals. I mean, the guy's on a tear. And, you know, just to have those caliber of athletes on your team, it really makes an old man like me step up my game to be able to even come close to be able to give them a hint. And it might just be me gasping a phrase in a race, like, "Hey, you need to try to go over here." Yeah,
talk more about like what that mentorship is, because we always hear about riders mentoring younger riders, but I'm sure it's not, you know, you guys sitting down with a chalkboard and doing X's and O's.
Oh, not at all. You know, it's more so like calling them out in races, trying to help them in guidance. Yeah, they have way more capability than me to go up a hill fast or follow this group that's going up the road, but I might have the little experience to help position them a little bit more, or tell them that, hey, you actually need to take this ice sock instead of say, "No, I'm fine," or you know, drink another bottle. And like we were at North Star recently, actually we were at Redlands, and the very first day was just oppressively hot. Yeah. And riders actually that were in the breakaway ended up DNFing a race because they got heat stroke. And we had Emerson Arante and Brandon McNulty back in the group, and Tom Soliday and I were just giving them bottles after bottles and ice socks after ice socks. And at one point, Emerson said, "No, I'm actually cold." And I said, "I don't care. Put it on you now." And Emerson and Brandon were second and third on that stage, and they ended up staying that way in the overall. And it was because of the experience that Tom and I had that we were able to help keep them in that position. And they didn't want it. Like, they didn't want to take that extra bottle. They didn't want to take that ice sock, but we forced them to, and it showed at the end that they were more capable.
Have you ever thought about the possibility of directing a team?
A little bit, you know, and I don't know if I can get out of my big brother attitude, Brad, or not, but you know, I definitely don't know it all. I'm learning still to this day at 38 years old in the sport, and you know, I do think I can give back a lot to the sport besides just being able to pedal decently every once in a while.
Sure.
So I'm open to it, but I'm not ready to close this chapter yet.
Yeah, still got some racing in your legs.
I think I do. Yeah.
What's left on your bucket list? I mean, is there a list of races that you want to win, or achievements that you have that maybe you haven't checked off yet?
You know what? I haven't won a lot, but I've won the right races. And for me, I don't have anything to prove in this sport.
Yeah.
The only thing I really care to prove is to myself every day, pushing myself to perform better, to be there for my teammates when they really need me, and to keep learning and keep developing in this sport that I love so much. And so if I win a race, that's awesome, but that's not what I'm out to do. I'm more so here to be part of a great program like the rally cycling team with an amazing partner with like Rally Health. And it's just, that's the inspiration that keeps me going. And I love the sport, and I enjoy waking up whenever I want to ride my bike.
Not having a race until the evening.
Yeah.
Best job in the world.
Yeah.
Is it the best job in the world? I think a lot of people want to be pros. They dream of being a pro, and then they get to the pro ranks, and you spend maybe a year or two as a pro, and it's like, man, this is not as cool as I thought it was going to be.
No, a lot of people, even as a Cat 1, they just, once they get a real taste of what it's like to be in that hurt locker for 100 miles or even an hour and a half crit, they're like, I don't know if I really want to do this.
Yeah.
And, you know, I've told people the only reason I've made it because I was the only one dumb enough to not quit. And you have to have a lot of that in you to be able to make it as a pro cyclist and to continue as a pro cyclist. And those that aren't able to make it, it's not that they're not a great athlete. They just have different reasons to be in the sport.
Yeah.
And,
It's a tough sport off the bike, too. The travel, the hotels, the food. I mean,
it's 24/7.
The uncertainty, like we said.
You got to take care of yourself.
Yeah, and that affects you mentally, too. You know, like we said, not knowing where you're going to be racing next year, or having to get to a new hotel that night, or your flight is delayed 6 hours.
Exactly.
I mean, it's tough to race like that.
It actually helps you to juggle life a lot better. You know, we actually a lot of my friends and teammates, we laugh when we get to the airport at how stressed out every single person is there. And we're just nonchalantly walking around. We're the last person to get on the plane. We're not trying to be the first one so we can put our stuff in the overhead. We're just like, what is wrong with these people? And, you know, whenever we're able to take that into the quote-unquote real world, we're going to have a leg up on everyone. You know, we're just going to be able to brainstorm a lot better. We think on our feet a lot better, and really be an asset to whatever program we go to.
Yeah, I got to imagine being on your toes for 4 hours, surrounded by a guy an inch to your left, an inch to your right, an inch in front of you.
And calm as can be.
Yeah, I mean, you know, flying seems like the easiest thing in the world.
You know, the best thing is Ty Magner's an amazing rider, and he's really focused when he's in the races. And when we were at North Star, he was riding head and shoulders above everyone else. He was phenomenal. He was flying. He went on this climb, and he went so fast that I kept pedaling as hard as I could, but I was in awe of the speed that he was going. And so, long story short, I get into he tries to bridge to the winning move. He doesn't make it. I get into the breakaway that catches him.
Yeah.
And it's like 1 lap to go in this circuit race. I tap him on the hip, and I tell him a joke in the middle of the race, and he is pissed about the joke.
What was it? What was the joke?
It was like, hey, it's a terrible joke. And I go, hey, Ty. So a horse walks into a bar. And he's like, no, Brad, come on. Boy. And I go, and the bartender says, hey, why the long face? And I was like, yeah, that's the punchline, you know, because he's the horse. He has a long face, you know. And
Ty didn't get it.
Oh, he got it, but he did not want to laugh.
Right.
So then, again, at Nationals, after it had been going just bananas in the race, we're going through the feed zone. We go across this little section, like everyone kind of catches their breath. And so again, I tap him on the hip and I go, hey, Ty. So a horse walks into a bar and he goes, F you, Brad, and just rides away. Oh, I was laughing more at the fact that he reacted that way than trying to tell a joke. But, you know, you got to have fun out there. Even when you're dying, you got to have fun. And a lot of people think that I'm not serious. They think that I'm just jerking around the whole time and not really focused and not really trying to get a result and just out there to have a good time. I am having a good time. I am focused, but I want to laugh and I want to enjoy it. I want to wave to my friends.
Yeah.
You know, on the Nationals course, we went back past the feed zone twice after we went through it. And twice I saw Danny Van Hout behind their team van, like sitting there looking at his phone and stuff. Right. And so I just went, all right, Danny, what the hell are you doing? And you saw him, he kind of looks up and he's like, who's talking to me? And then I stick my hand up in the air in the middle of 100 dudes, and he's like, yeah, hey, Brad.
That's you.
Yeah. But, you know, you got to have a fun time. I mean, this sport is too difficult, too painful. So you got to laugh at yourself and laugh at the others around you.
Everyone's got their own way of dealing with it, don't they? I mean, some people do it on the bikes. For some riders, it's, you know, when they get off the bike.
Most riders hate me. Most riders hate me.
Well, they can't fault you for trying to have a little fun.
Right.
Trying to enjoy it.
Exactly.
You're after 38 years old. How many years as a pro now?
I think it's my 11th or 12th year. I started in 2006 with Jonathan Vodder's team, TIAA Cref, and this is 2017, so that's 11. That would be 11 years, but it's my 12th season.
Yeah, and still enjoying it. I mean,
still enjoying it, still having a great time. I still question why I'm doing this. Whenever it's going, you know, but it's when it's super hard in the races. You know, I look up and there's like 40 19-year-olds dropping me. I'm like, I don't know if I should do this anymore. But, you know, I'm able to come back every time.
When did that shift happen? Like, when did you start feeling like the old guy in the peloton?
Gosh, I think it was last year when I was at Breton, Tour of Brittany in France, and my teammate Pierre Ignode, who's an amazing, we call him the assassin, because he just out of nowhere, he'll get you. He's like, hey, Brad, by the way, every day he says, Brad Huff, the oldest guy in the race. And that's when it really dawned on me. I was like, oh, man, Kando's gone.
Yeah.
Oh, Zerbel's gone. Oh, boy. Yeah, I think I'm the oldest guy in the race because Horner's not here anymore. So, yeah, I'm definitely one of the oldest guys in the race.
Well, you've embraced it well. You wear 38 years well.
Yeah, I use a lot of moisturizer and sunscreen.
That's the trick for the young riders out there listening. Yep. Brad, on the eve of your defense of the Criterium National Championship, what are you going to do tonight and tomorrow morning? Like, how do you prepare for a big race like this?
I'm going to call the Lauren Hall, talk to her for a while just about life and how her day was, and just try to enjoy it. This sport, each race only happens once for us, and so I'm just gonna have a great time.
Right on. Well, we wish you the best of luck tomorrow. Brad Huff with Rally Cycling, the current Criterium National Champion.
For a few more hours.
For another few hours. Enjoy it. Thanks for joining us, Brad.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to today's episode of Lazer Radio. Be sure to check out more great shows from our hosts on the Wide Angle Podium Network. Until next time, I'm Brad Sohner. Thanks for listening.